right, what's up, guys? Kevin here. I'm back. We're going to make some lineups for week 9. This is the Domination Station NFL week 9. I'm going to call it setup tutorial. And basically, what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to go through it. I'm going to start setting up my lineups for week 9 using the Domination Station. I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm going to show you how it's done. And basically take questions so that you guys could set up your own lineups. Listen, everybody's got their own approach to mass multi-entering. There's no perfect way. There's no right. There's no wrong. Cheers, guys. Still going on the moons, on the blue moons. You know it. There's no right way or wrong way to do it. There are different ways of doing this. So that's what we're going to go over. And I'm just going to set up my shit because I got to do it anyway. Late night. Let's do this. Guys, what I expect from you is you should be making your lineups right now as well. This is Saturday night, late night lineup building time. We know most of the information for the slate tomorrow. There's not that much. I'm really not waiting on any news this week, so we can really dive right in. And, I'm going to get right into it here. I've got NFL Classic main slate going. I use correlation stacking in the main slate, and we're going to start setting up our stacks. Before we do that, I actually want to go through the player pool and whittle it down a little bit. So let's just go through each position group. Defense is really important to whittle down. They're all important. This is FanDuel. I'm going to do FanDuel. People ask me to do FanDuel. Vince, man, I'm not super excited. No. I just had a couple beers, man. I don't like Pollard that much. I don't like that game. I don't care that he's starting. So you could play him. I don't like it. I'm not doing it. It's not against. I'm not against it. I'm just not. He's not like going to be in my cash lineup for Pollard. No. I normally love a starting running back for cheap, but against Pittsburgh, I don't even want to play Zeke for cheap against Pittsburgh. I don't want to play. Pollard is just as good as Zeke for all intents and purposes, but from a fantasy scoring standpoint, but it's just a bad matchup. He can catch a few passes. He could get a touchdown, but it's a bad matchup. So, it's not for me. This is FanDuel. So, Pittsburgh is pretty much going to be an all-in play this week. Colts against Ravens is a no. Washington is okay. I'm just going to go through these defenses and pretty much click in anyone that I think is somewhat viable here. It's mostly going to be, I'm going to load up on the Steelers, though. I mean, to be clear, I don't really like the Dolphins. Cardinals are playable. I'm not going to play that. None of that. I guess the Giants. And none of that. No. Texans, okay. Rookie quarterback. We could play a little bit of that. Falcons. If we want a cheap, viable, Falcons, I think, are viable just because, Broncos are giving up a lot of points. And that's it. So I've already whittled down my defense choices to quite a few. Hope you won, Don. What did you win? They're not winning after. Yeah, hell yeah. There we go. All right. Let's go to tight end here. Same deal. I'm just going to lower the player pool a little bit. Going to just check back in anybody who I think should be allowed into the player pool. I mean, FanDuel did a pretty good job of pricing these guys. There's no one I love that's super cheap or anything like that. Yeah, I don't like that. I kind of am interested in Gesicki and a super GPP craziness play, but I probably won't have much of that. We may come back in here if we're doing some stacks and add a player or two. Stacking is a little bit less extreme on FanDuel than DraftKings. So I'm just whittling down the player pool. Players I'm going to use, players I'm not going to use. So I'm just checking back in players. Most of these will be on my sheet, but I'll add in some players that are quote unquote off sheet as well on occasion. Mainly because if I'm stacking games, I want to make sure I have players from those games that are stackable. Makes sense. Yeah, Justin Jefferson, Robbie Anderson, probably playable. I don't know. Probably not going to. DJ Shark. This is a Hunter special. He likes DJ Shark, so I'm going to leave him in there. Mike Williams, yes. Yes. Deontay, sure, why not? Darius Slayton, he's playable. I mean, I don't love the matchup, though. Probably not going to play him. I like Marquise Brown actually quite a lot in this slate. We're going to get some Ruggs. He's part of a game we want. Jerry Jeudy, he's part of a game we might choose to stack. Mecole Hardman, good value play. Darnell Mooney. Brown, part of a game we want to stack. Gage, part of a game we're interested in. Beasley, again, part of a game we're interested in. I'll include David Moore. That's probably going to be it. I don't think... Oh, okay. I don't probably need that. Marcus Johnson, Cedric Wilson. Nope. Okay. Remember now, this is FanDuel, so we're not going to get as deep into... Yeah, if you want to do that, you could do that too. So this button right here, Vince, you're right, will lock a player into a stack as well. Only in correlation stacks, but they'll also show up in correlated stacks. So this button right here will eliminate a player so that they only show up in stacks with their team. But so what I can do then, Vince, you're right, is let's say I said, hey, I'm going to include John Brown, but he's not going to show up in lineups anyway because he's projected a certain way. But I could do this, and it will only include him in stacks with Russell Wilson or Josh Allen, in game stacks or team stacks. So you could do that. That button does do that, yes. So we're just going through the player pool. I'm just whittling it down a little bit so that when we run the lineups, it doesn't take forever, and it doesn't have a whole bunch of extra crap in there that I just don't want. Continuing to go through each position group, McCaffrey, we're going to just click back in every running back that we're at least even mildly interested in here. I'm going to fade James Robinson. That's just something I'm doing. You'll notice that I don't do like a giant running back player pool. I like to keep it fairly tight. Man, I can almost play Montgomery, man. He sucks so bad. But he really is probably playable here at the salary. These guys are all probably playable. I don't want to do it, but they're all probably playable. Like you could play some Montgomery. You could play a little Swift. Even Antonio Gibson. I don't like it. I might uncheck them later. I don't know if I want to use them. Jordan Wilkins getting a little more run. No. Kelly, I'm going to... J.K. Dobbins I like a little bit. And then, of course, DJ Dallas. And you want to check Tony Pollard? Not my kind of guy, though. Not my kind of guy. All right, so we're getting lineups. We're getting lineups built, man. We've got our player pool. That's it. We've gone through it. That's my player pool. This is FanDuel. That's my player pool. Now I'm going to set up a couple things here. I usually do, let's call it 3 uniques. I'm going to do 150 lineups today, but for the first run, I'm just going to do 10. So I just want to test it out. Always kind of give it a little test, get my favorite. Actually, let's make it 20 here. Get my favorite quarterback going. Add a rule. My favorite quarterback on the slate, Russell Wilson. 20 lineups. Definitely game stacks here. Now look what happens. Number one, when we turn this on, we have a secondary stack forced in. I don't want to force that. Number two, we can give this a correlation boost if we want. What that did was gave everybody involved in the game a projection boost. What this is going to end up doing, well, let's see what it does. And let's set up 20 lineups. Give it a run. First thing I got to do is make sure it runs and it works. Always make sure. So I just ran 20 lineups around Russell Wilson. And let's look at the combinations that we got. We got Metcalf, Lockett, Dallas, Diggs, Lockett, Dallas, Diggs, Beasley, Metcalf, Lockett, Dallas, Diggs, Beasley, Lockett, DJ Dallas, Diggs, and John Brown. I'm really liking this. Lockett, Dallas, Lockett, Diggs, Metcalf, Lockett, Diggs, and there we go. So we got a really good mix. Now, I'm preferring Lockett this week, and actually our projection model definitely favors Lockett. If you take a look, Lockett is a little bit cheaper, 15.13. Metcalf is a little bit more expensive, and he costs a little bit more. So I like that. And it's giving me, let's see the total percentage ownership for each player. And let's see where we're at. Yeah, I got a lot more Lockett than I did Diggs. Here's the thing, though. I don't want 100% of any of this, right? I don't want 100% Lockett. I also don't want I don't mind 50% that, and I actually don't want this much of, let's say, Cole Beasley in these stacks. It's going to blow up a lot of these stacks. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to control my for exposures a little bit. I do like a lot of Stephon Diggs in these stacks, but let's call it 80%. Let's call Cole Beasley 30%. I don't like a ton of Cole Beasley on actually 20% on FanDuel, and John Brown will go 40% max. I'm going to lower some of these numbers a little bit. Smooth that out. For DK, I'm going to lower this number just a little bit as well. For Lockett, I'm going to lower his number a little bit. The reason I'm just doing this is we'll still get a lot of them, but I don't think Des Bryant is in the player pool. I don't think it matters. I don't think he's playable. Yeah, he's not in the player pool. It's irrelevant. I wouldn't stack him this week anyway, but it's irrelevant. All right. You guys are asking good questions. Is Beasley a better player than Brown? I don't know who's a better player than who. I don't know. Now, when you say how much percentage, are you watching what I'm doing? What I'm doing is I'm like, all right, I'm gonna set this stack. Let's see what happens. But I don't want it. I don't want every single Russell Wilson lineup to have Stephon Diggs, and I want most of them. I don't need every single one. Why do I lower the number? What are we talking about that? Oh, if I'm lowering the max exposure again, I'm just controlling. If you look in the combinations here, I just saw that. All right, I look at my player exposures, and it's like, all right, I got 100% Tyler Lockett, 80% Diggs, and I'm just all right. I don't have any lineups right now with Metcalf, but not Lockett. So I'm saying, okay, let me control for that. I'm lowering the number to try to see if I can get some lineups that have one but not the other. So I'm just trying to make sure that of the 20 lineups I make with Russell Wilson, I'm just kind of spreading out a little bit. I don't want all Lockett. Sometimes Lockett duds and it's DK Metcalf who goes off. So I don't want 100% of one or 100% of the other. I just want to get exposure to both. So yeah, what I'm doing is I'm just adjusting these projections down a little bit, and then I'm running it again to see how much of each guy I'm getting. Eventually, I could just control it using max exposure limits. Again, if I just look again here, I'm getting still 90% Lockett, 30% DK. So I'm still probably a little too high on my Lockett projection here. This is all within the stack. I'm not changing their numbers within the player pool itself, just within the stack. So I'm just trying to get it so that my Russell Wilson lineups have a nice mix of, all of the players involved in this game. Yeah, now we're getting Lockett, Dallas, Diggs, Metcalf, Lockett, Diggs, Lockett. I want some Metcalf with no Lockett lineups. Here's some Metcalf, Dallas, Metcalf. Yeah, I don't want any Dallas by himself. So I can't have Dallas by himself in these. Actually, I have to lower the Dallas number a little bit too. And then I'm getting no Metcalf without Lockett, so I've got to lower him just a little bit more again. And maybe I'll raise him up a little bit. This is just setting up. The reason I'm spending a lot of time on this one, and I have to spend time on every stack, you got to keep testing it. That's right. One of the biggest mistakes, Don, that a lot of people make is they think that you're just going to set up a couple things, hit the button, and then run it and put it in. We're done. That's really not how I do it, and certainly it doesn't work well with game stacks. That'll work if you just do quarterback, one wide receiver, simple stacking, and you could do that. But I like to, if I'm going to do all these different lineups with Russell Wilson, I want to have like a nice mix of different, yeah. Like I got a Metcalf Lockett. That's a combo of the two wide receivers. Here's a Lockett Dallas. Here's a Lockett, another Lockett. Here's a Metcalf Dallas. Here's a Metcalf Lockett. The one thing I'm noticing is I think I'm getting 100% DJ Dallas, which is also no good. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to lower him a little bit as well. DJ Dallas is not like somebody who's going to be positively correlated specifically with Russell Wilson, so I don't need to load up on him. Yeah, it's coming down a little bit. So there we go. Might lower that even a little bit more, just because I don't want 100% of him in these lineups. Yeah, no worries about Dez. He's not even somebody we have to worry about. Let's see again. How much DJ Dallas do I have? Yeah, now we're getting there. Okay, now we're getting there. All right. Next up. So we've got our first stack set up. We've got 20 lineups going with Russ. My next stack is going to be Josh Allen. Let's stick with the same game. I'm going to raise up my total number of lineups to 40. Yeah, what I was going to say, there's nothing wrong. When you have a cheap running back like what Dallas is, we could play him with the quarterback and with the wide receiver. They're not going to be super negative correlated because they're about the same price. He's so cheap that it doesn't matter that much. Plus, if there's enough scoring in this game, if the game goes how we want it to and we think it might, then there's going to be so much scoring to go around. My one concern is I'm not all in on DJ Dallas. There's a couple other running backs. I do like Dallas quite a lot, but there are a couple other running backs that'll mix in. So if I knew he was getting the full workload, can we set the max exposure for everyone? No. Well, not if you want the domination station to work. You cannot do that. No. That will ruin it, and that will make it not work. So if you do that, just be aware that it's not going to work. What you should be doing is what I do. Watch what I do and do it like I do it. That's the best way. All right, let's add in a Josh Allen lineup. Again, there's a simpler way to do this. You could just use the legacy stacking system and, do QB and WR. You can set up simpler stacks. You don't need game stacks. You could do it a little simpler with the other system. This is a little bit more involved, but you can control it a little bit better. I like the control. Not everybody does. So if you don't want to really control it too much, set it up the other way. Set it up, just use you could use legacy stacking. Listen, we have another stacking system that's easier. And I'll show you it. Legacy, you just go QB, Russell Wilson. You can even do it simpler. You can go QB with no less than one of WRTE, same team. No less than one of WRTERB, opposing team, and that's it. And now you're done. Run 20 lineups. Boom. Let's see what you get. This is a simpler way. If you want to do it fast, this is a way to do it. By the way, so we have an easy method. Now you're going to see, hey, what did it give me? Oh, lots of Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, not much Russ. Okay, fine. And that's it. And now you could just set your max exposures using right in here. And by the way, this is probably great. These lineups are probably awesome. So there's nothing wrong with doing this way. I don't like these players, but understand you could do it however you want. This is so if you want a very, very simple stacking system, just use and check this out. Even when you use the legacy system, you could still see the exposures and control for them. It's probably just as good. Interesting, Kyler Murray didn't get any players with himself. Because I don't have any Kyler Murray pass catchers available in my player pool. See how simple this one is? This one, if you wanted a simple way, just do it like this. I'm kind of doing the more involved way, the correlation stacking, but you can do it however you want. So here we go. Josh Allen, again, we're going to do team stacks. I'm going to set up 20 with Allen. In this case, every Josh Allen lineup for me is going to have Stephon Diggs in it. It just is. So I'm not even going to mix that up. Let's give it I think we'll do a boost as well. I'd like some of them to have John Brown, some of them to have Cole Beasley. Lots of these guys in them. We're going to have to control these guys as well. So let's reduce these numbers back to what we saw we did on the other one. 17, 16.5. Oh, 12.5, same as we did on the first stack. And again, now we've got 40 lineups going, all built around this game. I still haven't even controlled for players that aren't part of this game yet. We'll get to that because I'm seeing way too much of some running backs I don't like. Like, I don't really want to use David Montgomery almost at all. So I'm going to change that to 11.5. I don't like him as a play. Where's my boy Justin Jackson? I'm going to raise him up because I just like the play a little bit with Justin Jackson. So let's give this another run. Yeah, you could definitely do that so that you have a second. Or you could do, I don't love those intense kind of rules. You could also do a rule RB with defense, but then you're going to be forced to use an RB with your defense like every time. So that's why I don't love overly going intense with rules. So my favorite defense is Pittsburgh on this format, but yet, you know, it's going to match up a running back with a lot of these defenses. I don't want to use running backs with all these defenses, so it's not going to. I don't really want to do that. But yes, you can make some secondary stack rules if you want. I'm going to set a door on the Steelers because I want the Steelers to be the primary defense. Again, this is FanDuel, so I'm pretty well all in on Pittsburgh defense for all intents and purposes. I want to see what it takes to get them to show up as much as possible without going crazy. So there'll be lineups where I don't have Pittsburgh, but I want to try to make sure they're in most of my lineups. I just think there's such a better odds of them doing well than all of the other defenses that you might as well just get as much of it as possible. These other ones are fine too, by the way. I like them all, but Pittsburgh is the best. So here we go. We've made 40 lineups already, guys. And these are lineups I like a lot. I like this group of tight ends. I like this group of wide receivers. And of course, we're going to get a lot of Diggs, not because of any other reason that we're stacking around those games. We've got more Lockett than Metcalf, which is what I want. Got a little bit of Brown, a little bit of Beasley, a little bit of Keenan Allen. We can try to raise that up a little bit, a little jacking up, but we'll get a lot of more Keenan Allen as we start to build Herbert lineups. A little Allen Robinson, who I like, Julio Jones, Justin Jefferson, Russell Gage. So we've got a pretty nice mix of players here. We're starting to mix up our running backs a little bit better. We're going to do even more as we continue with this, with the running back position, get different names. We'll control that more, but let's make another stack. All right. So we've got 2 so far. And by the way, I might go even heavier on these 2. This is 20. I might go 25. I might go 25 here. You know, we could do a full 1/3 of our lineups based around this one stack. And then we can get into the rest of these players that we kind of like a little bit, but not as much as those guys. So I'll go Deshaun Watson, who I actually like a lot. I'm going to give him 20 lineups. I'm not going to do game stacks with Deshaun. Just going to set up team stacks. No game, just team. Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks. I guess I can add back. I'm not going to. I could add back Randall Cobb. Cobb hasn't done much. He's not much of a FanDuel play. So I'm just going to set this up and I'm going to leave it how it is. I'm going to lower David Johnson essentially to 12 because I don't want him as part of any Deshaun Watson stacks. If he's scoring, he's negatively correlated with Deshaun. I'm actually going to change that to 11 here. And that's 20, 40, 60 lineups to run. How did I get? Yeah, change that number to 60. See where we're at. Make sure we got our numbers right. 20, 50. Oh, that's 50, 70. There we go. So you got to count them. A little counter there. That would be helpful. Guys, we're 25 minutes in. We're making lineups. I'd love your questions, so keep them coming. If you're building lineups right now, all of these process things that I'm doing, I want you to ask me about them. See, what you're doing. Do it on screen so that if a question comes up, you can ask me right away. So we're getting a lot of what I want. I got my Waller. I haven't even had to control it. The projections are pretty much setting this up. As you see, when I added an extra stack in here based around, a different player. A couple things I'm going to do here. Sir, I told you some players they're only in the game to be in game stacks. So let's lock those guys into their game stacks. Like Cole Beasley, I don't want him showing up if it's not a game stack. Let's take a look at the combos we got for Deshaun Watson. So we're getting a little more Brandon Cooks than we are Will Fuller, and none with both. So I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is start to inch up the projection for Will Fuller, try to get him in some of these lineups. I'm going to actually raise up projection on Cooks as well. Let's see if that gives us a little bit better mix here. Let's give it another run. Who would you add to the DK player pool? I mean, I have the players on my sheet, so most of what will be in the DK player pool I have on my sheet. I could have done DK, but I'm doing FanDuel. The main difference between FanDuel and DraftKings is I use fewer players on DraftKings. I need touchdown scores. So we don't need like the Marcus Johnsons and the Marvin Halls. Those types of players, I just don't need them on FanDuel. Oh, with defense, these defenses that I chose here are the same defenses I like on both sides. I'm just going to have a lot more Pittsburgh on FanDuel because they're affordable. On DraftKings, you really can't play Pittsburgh because they're too expensive. So I'm going to play these other guys. I've already said that my favorite kind of pay downs are the Giants, the Falcons, a couple of cheapos like that. Getting a mix I like. Let's see what these combinations look like again for Deshaun Watson. Here we go. So look what I did before. I raised up Fuller a little bit because I was getting all these Brandon Cooks and no Fuller lineups. Now I've got 55% Fuller, 25% Cooks, and 20% Cooks and Fuller. Yes, my perfect. When you have the time, it's much better to adjust those projections within the stack to cause it to kind of come together the way you want. When you force things, it just gets weird. It's the best way I can put it. There's another way to go where I could basically build the same stack 3 times, do this like 10 with forcing 2, and then another 10 with forcing just 1. So there are a few different ways to do this, but this is how I prefer to do it. It comes together more naturally like this. So essentially what I'm telling it is what do we when I boost the projection. All right, let me back it up. What am I saying? Here's my reasoning, because you might say, hey, why are you changing your projection? That's your projection. Why would you change it? And here's what it is. My assumption is if Deshaun Watson is the winning quarterback this week, is the quarterback that's in the nuts lineup, then he will exceed his expectations. If he's exceeding his expectations, it makes sense that some of his pass catchers are going to be exceeding their mean expectations. So that's why I'm comfortable raising up the projections within the context of the stack itself. All right, so let's keep going. Let's keep hammering through the quarterbacks we like this week. Herbert is another one we like a lot. I like. I don't know what you like. You like who you do you. I do me. So Herbert's another guy I like a lot. Let's do 20 with him. Build this as a game stack? I think so. So in this case, I'll do another bunch of lineups with Justin Herbert. I am going to give it a correlation boost. And let's see. I'm going to lower Josh Jacobs just a little bit. I think if we do this with him and jack up his projection, he's going to show up in every lineup. I don't really like that. So I'm going to kind of take him back to his usual projection here. I think it was around 16. Let's see what he was. Yeah, wow. That was a good fucking guess. It's actually 16. I don't play games. Yes. Error message came up because we added 20 more lineups, so we have to add 20 more to the mix. 70. We're up to 90. Guys, we're up to 90 lineups. 30 minutes in. Give me suggestions, by the way. If Burns had a good idea, and I'm forgetting, like, who's next? Who should we stack next? Let's see what the Herbert Bear lineups look like. Allen, Jackson, Waller. Allen, Williams, Jackson, Waller. Allen, Jackson, Waller, Ruggs. Allen, Jackson, Jacobs, Waller, Ruggs. Allen, who's not showing up as quite as much as I would like is Mike Williams. I'd like almost a little bit more Mike Williams, because I do think that if Herbert is beast moding, that Williams will be prominently featured. We're getting a lot of Justin Jackson. I'm kind of okay with that, but I'm going to lower that just a smidge. And yeah, I like kind of what we're getting on the flip side. So maybe I'm going to lower Waller. Let's call him 14.5 just to make sure he's not in every single one. Because what if Waller has a bad game? Never know. I'm going to put these lineups in, man. I'm liking the way these are coming together. What I want to do is try to get a little more of these high-end running backs. So I'm going to have to do some adjustments on the running back situation. But overall, first of all, let's take a look at our combination. Let's take a look at our... There we go. Let's take a look at our combinations. Once again, all right, so we got Allen, Williams, Jackson, Allen, Jackson, Allen, Jackson, Waller, Williams, still not getting quite as much Williams as I'd want, and it's a lot of Keenan Allen. So what I'm going to do is make another little modification here. I'm going to go we're going to go 18.5, and I'm going to add a little more to him, and I'm going to lower Justin a little bit again, so that we're a little bit more even keel. I wouldn't mind a little more Hunter Henry. He's got the big boost. He's still not showing up. It's probably because Waller is just eating up all of the tight end spot. Another thing that I forgot to do, and I've got to make sure we do it, I do not allow tight ends in the flex. Give him a 0. All right, here we go. Denver Falcons game, baby. Okay. Now, I don't love stacking this one. Kind of like it, but I don't love it. So I'm going to do a little bit of Matt Ryan tournament stack. We'll keep it light. Let's just take one last look at these combinations before we move on to another stack. So now Keenan Allen. Keenan is in every single one of these. Mike Williams. I'm getting enough Williams. Keenan in every lineup. I love Keenan Allen. I really do, but I don't know. A lot. So we're looking pretty good on that stack. I'm going to move on. Going to add in another one. So you said Matt Ryan? Sure. I like Matt Ryan. I like Julio quite a bit here. Courtney, what's up? What's up, Courtney? No, all we know is that there's an illness. I am proceeding as if Keenan Allen is fine. If we hear something tomorrow, we'll adjust. But right now, there's no new news. He's got an illness. I don't know what illness. With the Rona going around, what the hell are people getting illnesses? Like, aren't you supposed to have a mask on? How are you getting an illness? And if you're being Corona safe, how did you get an illness? I don't understand it. Time anybody gets sick. I'm like, how the hell did you get sick? You are late, as always. You need to get a freaking DFS Army tattoo. Then we can talk. You know what? They exist, and they're badass. Would I stack Jackson in my Herbert stacks? Yes. Jackson is a pass catcher. Herbert throws to running backs extensively. So to me, a running back in the Chargers offense is the same thing as a wide receiver. So yes, I'm definitely including him, and I think they're positively correlated. All right, so I'm just doing 10 lineups for Matt Ryan. He's not one of my top plays on the slate by any stretch. We'll do 10. We'll do 10 on our sort of kind of stacks, and it's mostly going to be Julio. I basically want all Julio, but I'm going to correlation boost this bad boy. I'm going to leave the secondary stack on so that we'll get a little something extra going on in there. And let's run it again. Guys, we're 100 lineups in of 150. This is to take down the Millie. I'm going to take it down. Can you imagine how sweet would it be? I've done this before where I do a video and then I take down the tournament. Oh, stop with your Alberto. No. Alberto could catch a touchdown. You know what's going to happen. He's definitely catching a touchdown this week. I played him last week in cash. I played him, but I think Noah Fant is the guy. All right, so where was I? We added in Matt Ryan. So let's take a look at our Matt Ryan stack. Every time you add a new stack, you got to go check it out. It's like, oh, Julio, Hayden. Oh, that's a lot of fucking combination, right? Too much. Too much. I'm going to take off the boost here. It's too much. I basically, if Matt Ryan's in the game and Ridley's out, I just want Julio's in the game for me. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to raise up Hayden Hurst a little bit. I'm going to raise up Russell Gage just a little bit. And, you know, I don't want them quite that much. I'm pretty happy with just a Ryan Julio. That's it. Run it again. So before, if you noticed, I got way too much. Like sometimes you can overdo it with stacking and you get like too many combinations. I just want him with Julio in every single one. So what I'm going to do is just kind of, I see what I did there. And again, 18, I'm going to raise this just a little bit more. And I'm going to lower Russell. I'm going to lower Russell Gage just a little. Actually, I like Russell Gage in there. So I don't mind it. Give it one more run. All right. I'm trying to remember who else I have on my list. Actually, let me go to my list and let's take a look here. So we've got Wilson, we've got Allen covered, we've got Herbert covered, we've got Deshaun Watson covered. Mahomes, Murray, and Carr are 3. And plus I have a couple of suggestions with Tua and Matt Ryan. So we got Matt Ryan. We'll do a Tua, a couple of lineups with Tua just in case. Maybe he's not terrible. I don't know. Can you imagine I do that with Tua and it turns out it's like one of these randoms from the Jaguars or Dallas that turns out to be not that bad? That's just my luck. Hang on just a second, guys. I got to let the cat in. All right. Okay, where are we? All right, we've got our Matt Ryan lineups going. Let's take one last look at those combinations. Julio and Gage. This is how you want it to look. The only one I don't like is that. I'm not going to deal with a Matt Ryan and no Julio, so I'm going to zero out the one. Look what I did here. Oh, Don, I hope the idea of this. Oh, but I want to, you know, the idea of this is definitely not like, hey, let's all put the same 150 lineups into the Millie Maker. I don't always take down a contest. I don't usually take one down. So I want you to have your own ideas. This is more about process and just how you do it. It's not about like these players or these names at all. I don't really care about the players. I care about building correlated lineups and doing it a certain way and just understanding the process of how to use the domination station to set up lineups, right? I'll still adjust this, man. This isn't going in and that's it and I'm done. I'll make a million adjustments before I finalize. I'll add a player in. I'll take some player out. A piece of news will come out. So, you know, this isn't the end all. Don. You know, we don't all want to be submitting the same set of lineups. That's not good for any of us. That's not good for anything. And that just won't work. I didn't win a million, you know, on Thursday. Bobby Wow did. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if we put the same lineups in, if he was just, it wouldn't have worked out. All right. Set another wide receiver, another quarterback into our stack group. Eventually, we're going to deal with some player exposures, but right now we're just dealing with setting up every single stack that we want. Let's go rolling with Mahomes. Always got to roll with Mahomie a little bit. We want to do game stacks. I don't think it's necessary, but here's what I'm going to do. We'll do here. All right, here's a little pro tip. Let's say I want to do some game stacks, some team stacks. I'll do 5 what I'm going to call game stacks with Mahomes, and I'm going to do 10 team stacks. Now, why am I doing this? These 5 will have Christian McCaffrey essentially. Now, if I wanted to, you asked me how do I get players on my pool? So I can look at this and say, all right, I'm making some Mahomes game stacks. The only player from the Panthers that I left in the pool was Christian McCaffrey. Now, I might say, well, I want to have good. Yeah, well, there we go. That's all I'm asking, man. I want. I'm not like. That's all I'm saying. It's like I want you guys to be on the players that you're on. Because if we're all in the same group, we're never going to take down the million. And it's not just me. I'm talking about everybody. Because usually the person who's taking down the million does like something sneaky that I didn't think of. Because if I thought of it, I would have took it down. So we all play fantasy football. We all know the sport. There's nothing like super secret about some of this stuff. Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. And I appreciate it. Now, I was not saying anything bad. What I'm really getting at here is just like, I believe that everybody who's watching this, you guys know fantasy football. We talk about it all the time. You watch all these shows. You watch not just my breakdowns, you're reading other stuff. 2, we got a million things going on DFS Army, but also all over the place. Football is widely known. So what we're trying to do is figure out the process for taking these things down and then use your own ideas. Burns has his own ideas. I have mine. Keg's got his stuff. John does his way. We all have like our own little twists. Josh does it his way. We all have Josh got his GPP sheet. Everybody's got their own little twist. But the process of doing this is really what's important. Because if you repeat these processes, these lineups are built to look like tournament winning lineups, and that's what we want. So, all right. So here's a Pat Mahomes stack, and we'll just let it flow. I'm gonna raise up Mecole Hardman a little bit. Let's give him a 9.9 because Sammy Watkins is out. And, let's just run 5 game stacks, which will force Christian McCaffrey in, and one of these 3 with Mahomes. And then we'll do 10 team stacks where we'll get 1 or 2 of these guys. Simple enough. Let's see how that looks. We just added 15 more lineups. So every time we add lineups, we're going to raise the number to equal the number of lineups that we have built. We're at 115. We still have a couple of quarterbacks to go. I believe you, man. Don, trust me. I get as excited as, I was more excited for Bobby Wow's win on Thursday than he might have been. That's my guy. He did it. You know what I mean? I'm excited for every win. I love sweating it out with you guys. It's the best. And it's also every single time it happens, it's just another proof that the tool that we built, and this is going to sound crazy, it's just another proof that the tool that we built here really works. Like every time somebody from DFS Army takes down a tournament using this tool, I'm just going off on a side note here. To me, I'm like, I fucking knew it. Proof that this tool that we built works to take down tournaments, because essentially what are we doing? We're competing with some other similar tools that are also designed to take down tournaments, right? And we're building the best tool that we can, and we're trying to add in every detail that we possibly can to help our people only take down tournaments. That's what we're doing. And so you build these things, you come up with these things, and then you put them into action, and then you see it take down a contest, and you're like, fuck yeah, that shit worked. It's exactly like the greatest thing ever. I don't know if you guys, like, I have as much joy from that as I do from taking down my own tournament, because I'm like, fuck, that's my fucking tool, and it did it. We did it. You know what I'm saying? So every time that happens, it's proof. Yes, we built an awesome tool here, and it works. All right, I just added in Mahomes. Let's see what we got. 70% Kelsey, not much Tyreek Hill. I don't even know what the gauge thing is, but a little bit of Kelsey, a little bit too much Kelsey, not enough Reek. So let's make a little bit of an adjustment here. The reason it's not putting a lot of Tyreek in there is because there are other great wide receivers in the price range. I'd like a little bit of Mecole Hardman. So let's put that 9.9. I thought I'd set this. Oh, I forgot to do it for this one. That's what happened. We're getting a little, where's my Christian McCaffrey comeback? Could it not do it? I wonder if it just can't make a lineup with this group. Interesting if that was the case. Let's see if we're getting any Christian McCaffrey in our lineups. Yeah, we did. So, yeah, we are getting it. Interesting. All right, let's give this another run. I forgot to set this on server. $115 lineups in. We're getting there. Putting the shit in the milli maker, take down $1 million. Then I'll be like, call my boss. I'm like, fuck you, I'm out of here. Got $1 million. Who's my boss? I don't have one. I have to call myself. Like, fuck me, I'm out of here. Done with this shit. Mecole Hardman, way too much. So we got to deal with that. That is not how I want it to go. Need to raise these up a little bit more. I need the boost. I need the boost and help it. Got to have the boost. All right, let's try this again. Turn that off. Yeah, that's the boss. But if I told that boss, fuck you, I'm out of here, it ain't going over well. The cat is kind of my boss too. That fucking cat. Torturing my soul constantly. Here we go. So yeah, now we're getting Kelsey, a little Kelsey Hill, Kelsey Mecole. This is a better mix. Okay, there we go. We got like a mix that we like here. All right, so we're at 115 lineups, and notice what I'm doing. What I'm looking over there is I'm just making sure that I mix it up. I don't know who the best play is. You guys are who's the better play? I don't fucking know. But I mean, Hill or me or Kelsey, I don't know. But if I'm playing, basically, if I'm playing Pat Mahomes, then if those are the guys that he throws to, so I'm going to get a mix of them. Little hard man, like hard man. Okay. Who the hell else is on my list this week? I've got a little bit of Kyler Murray. I'm going to add a Kyler Murray. I'm going to do 10. I love Kyler Murray. He's my guy. Notice who the only player that I have available for Kyler Murray in stacks is. Chase Edmonds. Why? Because Kyler runs football too. I'm not going to do a ton of it. He's going to get his points running. He could score with his legs. He can throw to Chase Edmonds, who could score a touchdown. The Miami defense is excellent against the pass, so I don't really want to mess with forcing him to be in stacks with his wide receivers. Therefore, and plus, as expensive as DeAndre Hopkins is, it's not a lock, even if Murray's going nuts, that Hopkins does enough. So what I'm going to do is actually just stack him with Chase Edmonds. This is a little bit unorthodox. I'm going to add in a secondary stack because why not? And I'm not going to use a game stack here because I don't trust anything on Miami. So this is just going to be a team stack. We're going to do 10 lineups with Kyler Murray. I could do 15. I could do it. I could do it. I could do whatever I want, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do 10. So let's add another 10. We're at 125 lineups, guys. We are getting there. Man, that's a good question. I think if he's ruled out, I will lower Herbert exposure just a little bit, but I'm also going to jack up my Mike Williams exposure like crazy and Henry. So I don't think I'll love Herbert as much, but I'll still play him, but maybe I'll lower it. But more importantly, it's Mike Williams becomes the play of the slate. And we can even get back onto Hunter Henry, and Justin Jackson looks even better in that scenario. So I'm, all good. All right, you know who I forgot about? We just added in Kyler Murray. I don't even need to look because all those lineups are going to have Murray stacked with Chase Edmonds. So I'm going to add in, now we're at 125. Let's add in Derek Carr. I don't love Derek Carr as a guy to stack, but he's on my list, so I'm going to add him in. We're going to do game stacks. We're going to correlation boost it. And again, we're going to I don't want Jacobs in these lineups. So I'm going to lower him down to the point where he won't show up. Really, I could have just zeroed him out there, but we're going to do a correlation boost here so that we're getting a lot of just this overall game in these 10 lineups. Give it a run. Oh, I forgot to, we got to set that. Remember, even what did we just set it? We just added how many? 10. So we're at now 135. Yeah, I agree. Like it's Williams will get more targets though without Allen hogging it all. But then you'll get more Jackson and you'll get more Henry as well. That's what I think will happen. What min? I do not use. All right, this is really important. Great question. Don't use min percent ever. The only time I want to use min percent, force min, it works on defense, but again, because this is FanDuel and because I'm so high on Steelers, I'm just letting it do its thing. Like, let's say I want though, like certain defenses that I'm like, hey, I really want this one. So let's say I really, really wanted Baltimore for whatever reason. I'm like, I just need Baltimore exposure. So yeah, I don't mind setting a 5% on a defense. So, but I'm not going to set a minimum across all of them. I'm just going to let it do its thing. The only thing I did here was I raised up. Normally, what I'll do with defense, I'll uncheck any ones that I don't want to use. And then if I start getting too much of one, I'd rather max limit them. So let's say I didn't want to be kind of all in on the Steelers on FanDuel. What I would do here is I would just be like, all right, I'm going to go with the market. He's projected at 25. Let's set it at 25 max and be done with it. Now, I'm not going to do that because I love Steelers to the point where I don't mind having them in as many possible lineups as I can. So I'm just going to leave them. Check out what happened here. So I just want to show you. The Kyler Murray lineup showed up as the highest projected, which is cool. And it tells you something. I'm not sure what it tells you, but it tells you something. And Kyler Murray to Chase Edmonds, we set up that stack. Okay. It just grabbed whoever it likes for the rest. And it did a secondary stack here of Allen and Waller, which I love. Sore throat, tested negative, but needs to pass COVID test. So there it is. So he got a little sore throat. As long as he doesn't have the Rona, you know, obviously they'll test him tomorrow. We're going to know. We're going to know tomorrow. So this is about the Rona. We'll know. Got the Corona. When my kid gets a sore throat, I'm like, yo, get in your fucking room. You're in quarantine. Hell no. Stay in that room. It's quarantine time. You guys do that with your kids? You're like, yo, sneeze, get out. Quarantine. Get in your room. Lock the door. I'll leave a tray of food at the door. Just grab it. Stay in there. Is that just me? All right, forget I said anything about that. I don't do that. All right, where are we? Derek Carr, some Derek Carr lineup. So, yeah. By the way, yeah, Fallon. I mean, so illness. Now we know what it is, right? He got a sore throat. He's like, dude, my throat hurts. All right, check him for the Roan. Doesn't have it. Check him again tomorrow. Doesn't have it. Whatever. He's gonna play. Or they check it tomorrow and he has the Corona, and then he doesn't play. But you know, we'll see. Yeah, you know what's up. Right in the quarantine zone. Get in the room. By the way, this was even before Corona. We'd be like that. Like, what? What? You coughed in your room. Quarantine. Sometimes I pretend that I have a sore throat. Courtney, you'll appreciate this. Sometimes I pretend. I'm going to speak quietly. Sometimes I pretend that I have a sore throat so that I get sent into quarantine and then I don't have to bother with anything. I should just make lineups and study, you know, football and do all my stuff. Like, sorry, man, you know, I can't be around everyone. Sore throat. Yes, it does. It definitely makes it worse. I know what you're talking. Yeah. Corona was like crystal meth for germaphobes. If you were already germophobic, this was like, I knew it. I was right my whole fucking life. And then you go like 10 times more extreme with it. But like, I've been preparing for this my whole life. I know exactly what to do. I know all about that. All right. How many we got, guys? 135. We got 15 more. 15 more fucking lineups. You want to make 5 with Tua? This is the silly for the Millie 5. You ready for this? Let's make the Tua silly for the Millie. 5 lineups. Want to go 10? I don't know. Kind of want to do 5. Not really confident in Tua. Not super confident in him. Going to make it into a game stack. Include Chase Edmonds in those bad boys. Five lineups. This is the one. These five are going to win the million. I got a feeling. Boost it. I include Preston. See, this is where you're like, oh, my player pool, right? Check this guy back in. No lock. That was an accident. Take that off. I want this. Only Preston in stacks. Probably going to do only Gasecki in stacks. Now Preston Williams is here. All right, let's give this a run. That's just 5. That's 140. We got, I feel like I have one more quarterback that I've skipped, which is why I'm leaving it at 140 and I didn't do more. And let me go back to the sheet here. I got Russell, Allen, Carr, Herbert, Mahomes, Tua, Matt Ryan. Who are we left? All right. Blings, this is really, really important. Let's say that player is also involved in stacks. Everything depends on if that player is involved in stacks. So who is the player that we're talking about? If they're in your correlated stacks, then what you want to do is not set a limit. You want to lower their projection in the main player pool. If the player is not a part of, like a running back, I usually try to start fiddling with the projections a little bit, but in the end of the day, for time purposes, yeah, at some point you could just slap a max on them. You know what's great, Joe? I love how you put come in contact with someone on the road. I like, guys, I just found out I came into contact with someone with the Rona. They're like, oh, you stay home for 2 weeks. You're like, do I have to? Man, do I have to? Fine, but man, this is stupid. I wish I didn't have to. You know what I mean? Where are we? Domination station, baby. Okay. So I added in, we're at 140. I've got one more. Either I can add one more stack in here, or I can just go in and say, you know what? I like these stacks. Let me just raise up some of these. I think that's probably what I'll end up doing is I'll say, you know what? Let me just get a little bit more of some of these guys that I love. You know, maybe I'll go to 30 Russell Wilson. Like, unless we could think of any, yes. Yeah. Change projection if they're not involved in stacks. If they are, what you want to do is you could just limit max exposure with a guy like Chase Edmonds, but we can adjust the projection too. I usually will adjust the projection. So I haven't gotten to the running back position, but I'll show you how I do it because I've been really happy kind of with where are we at now? At 140, 140, 145. Fuck, I just added, I forgot to count it. We're at 145. I just added 5 more. So let's just make 145 here. And you know, what I'll do is, all right, so now I'm going to go through each position group. I'm like, all right, this is my exposures. Okay, fine. Running back. So now, all right, so let's take a look at the running back position, what we're getting, because I haven't even gotten to this point of messing with this. We're getting almost 100% Chase Edmonds, which I don't like. A lot of Justin Jackson, not crazy about it. Plenty of DJ Dallas, who I like, and I'm comfortable with this amount. Not as much Dalvin Cook as I want. A little J.K. Dobbins. This is fine. This is fine. Want a little more of this. Want a little bit more of that. So let's go into the main player pool and now start to deal with our running backs, right? So now that we've got our general things going the way we want, I'm going to do some things with the running back position. I want to slap some love onto some of these guys. I muted it. That's fucked up, Joe. That's fucked up. How many times? I got nothing to say about that, man. That's fucked up. All right. So I'm slapping some like and some love on players I'm not getting as much of that I want. A little bit more of, right? I like James Conner too. So I'm going to get a little bit of more action going. I believe that the projection is just wrong on Christian McCaffrey, so I'm going to raise him up. I'm of the mind that Christian McCaffrey will play, and he will play a lot. I don't like this Q tag for Josh Jacobs, so I'm going to go. I don't know what the Q is about. It doesn't make me happy. The main thing here that we found out is we're getting a little more Chase Edmonds. I love Chase Edmonds, but still getting maybe a little more than I want. I don't like Montgomery at all, but we've lowered him. Jackson, we've raised him. I think I can probably make a little modification, and I'm going to actually give one more guy a little bit of a bump, and that's J.K. Dobbins. I feel like J.K. Dobbins at this price with no Ingram and where he seems to be getting a lot of the carries, even in a bad matchup, is somebody I want a little bit more exposure to. So I'm going to just give a little like on him there. Hey, man, I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to judge nobody. I don't want anybody judging me. Don't judge me. That's all I ask. All right, let's give this another one. So I made a few little adjustments to some of the players here, see if I can get slightly different outcomes from my running back position. I like it, Steve. And you know what? I'm glad I saved a couple of lineups because, yeah, the whole field is playing Dalvin Cook. Why not load up on Kirk Cousins and some of his pass catchers? Now, again, yeah, I like that approach. Absolutely. Let's do it. You're right. Yeah, totally. That's a great tournament approach, what you're asking about right now, and I love it. So I'm going to do that as well because I like your idea. Let's make a game stack with Kirk Cousins. Everybody's playing the running game. We say, oh no, we're going to play the pass catchers, right? And we're going to actually eliminate Dalvin Cook from these. We're going to give it a correlation boost. We're going to eliminate Dalvin Cook. We don't want Dalvin Cook in that lineup. Get a little Thielen, Jefferson, get a little. Every touchdown that Thielen or Jefferson scores is one that Dalvin Cook isn't scoring. So I like this. Bring it back with some of these turds. I don't even know if we need the team stack, the game stack, to be honest. But, let's see what happens. Let's give it a run. Everybody likes Dobbins. Yeah. Did I give a number here? Oh, give him 5. That's it. We're at 150. I like this so much. I might actually go back and maybe reduce that and bump this up to 10. Like, I don't want to go crazy, but I like it. So let's give it one run and see where we're at. Nice. Yeah, you got the same thing. I like that you're running it. Guys, this is exactly. I hope you have 2 screens. Like, put me over there and be running over here. So we're doing this simultaneous. Again, not because we want to have the exact same mix of players, but because this process of how to set up the Dom station, we're an hour in. And I've been talking the whole time. But realistically, this is like what it takes. We're an hour in and we've got it like pretty close to where we want. All we got to do now is go through, and this, I do spend a lot of time with this, but all we got to do now is really go through and kind of like look at, all right, how much of each running back do I have? Do I want more of this guy? Do I want less of that guy? That's it. How about each player? We go through it individually. These are all players I kind of like. So, I mean, there's nothing I'm not liking about what I'm seeing. I love that I'm getting some Marquise Brown just on his own. Everything about this mix right now looks pretty good to me. this mix of players. These were all guys. This is low on DK Metcalf, actually. That's one thing that I'm curious about. So we'll have to go back and look at our combinations here and see if we lowered Metcalf too much. I want to get a little more of him. I'm a little surprised there. So I'm going to go back and make a little bit of a modification here to DK Metcalf. Let's raise him up. Again, I like Lockett more. I've already said that, but that doesn't mean I don't like DK Metcalf. I just like Lockett more. Let's see where we're at with DK Metcalf. I like DK Metcalf as a player more. I just like Lockett's matchup just a little bit more here. But I think Metcalf is, yeah, see, Lockett gets all this love and DK kind of hanging out down there. It's not really fair. But the guys who I like a lot are showing up a lot. That's good. That's great. Tight end, where we at? Should have a lot of Waller. That's my top guy. Get a little bit of Kelsey going. So this looks pretty good. Defense, lots of Steelers. Good. Getting a little too much Chase Edmonds. Going to have to work on that a little bit. But when you do this 150, my one thing that I implore is don't jump into like a game that's expensive for you to play in. Whatever that amount may be, don't like just do the $5 one and all of a sudden you're in it for $750. Start with the nickel. If we're doing on FanDuel, there's a nickel game, a dime game, a dollar one. Make sure you're in a level. I want to, I do this and I do these videos. More often than not, I lose money on mass multi-entering. So I'll make 150 lineups. And if you look at, there's a guy on Twitter, Unho Bro, right? And every week he puts out this thing. He's like, it'll be like 180 people max entered this contest. And of that group, 20% of them or 10% of them had a profit. And that's pretty common stuff. So where I'm going with it. Oh, does anybody know who won the main event for MMA by any chance? Is that over yet? It is not. Okay. All right, no. Okay. Not yet. So what I was saying is, oh, I love it. Courtney's watching that shit. Hell yeah. I liked Bozer's fine, but I kind of thought Andrei Arlovsky was one of the acceptable punts on this card. So let's see if that plays out. Is Bozer whooping his ass? Yeah, let me know. I the main thing is I bet. Actually, I'll give it out to you guys because you're hanging out. I bet the main event, but I did a very, very I did a hedge bet. So what I did was in the main event with Teixeira. Sorry guys, for those of you who hate MMA, sorry. I won my earlier bet, so fuck yeah. And I won a second bet. Basically, I've won 2 bets already tonight. But on the main event, what I did was Glover Teixeira's taken on Thiago Santos, and I thought I think I'm right. This was a Andrei Arlovsky good fight to punt with. So let's see if that works out. I didn't play any Bozer. I think that was the most ultimate. What do they call that shit? Recency bias guy ever. So I didn't play him. But in the main event, what I did was Teixeira by submission plus 550. And then I did Thiago Santos inside the distance at minus 160. So I was able to hedge it so that the only way I lose is if it goes to decision or if Teixeira wins by KO, which I think is wildly unlikely. And so I created a really interesting hedge. I have, yeah, Arlovsky, man. He was my guy. So Falcons think it will be tough for Ridley to go. Stafford activated off the COVID list. Still not 100% going to play, but it looks good. So just getting a couple of updates. Ridley does not look likely. Again, I really like John Jones, Julio Jones. That reminds me that we want to raise that up a little bit. I want to get a little more Julio exposure than what I'm getting here. I like Julio even more on DraftKings. There's also a little squeaky wheel thing going on with Marquise Brown that I want to exploit on FanDuel in particular. So I'm going to raise that up just a smidge. I don't want too much of that, but a little bit. Justin Jefferson, I really like. Ruggs. Yeah, Marvin Jones Jr., totally fine. DK Metcalf. I think if I run this again, I will get some different numbers. But we're looking pretty good here, guys. I'm going to give it one more run. My big mistake, Courtney, was Bevan Lewis. I know he's a fucking scrub. I know he sucks. I had this amazing line, but it's got Bevan Lewis in it, and he blew it. And I should have. And the funny thing is, I could have just put in Giles in there for cheaper. It's just brain fart. I didn't spend that much time on it. That's what happens after the Players Club. I spend like 10 minutes trying to make MMA lineups before it, locks. It's crazy. I don't have time. Yeah, we're getting a little more Julio now. So I made a couple little adjustments, and you see here we're getting kind of different numbers, which is great. It's kind of what I was hoping would happen. I'm going to raise him up a little bit. Like him. Everything's looking pretty good to me. I think we got lineups ready. The one thing that we're getting a little too much of is we're getting too much of these scrubby kind of running backs, maybe, especially Chase Edmonds. I don't know if I want to go all in on him. Lower that a little bit. I'm getting a lot of Cook. I'm getting a lot of McCaffrey. I'm going to try to get a little more of each. I don't really like DeAndre Swift on FanDuel that much. I'm going to lower him. This is probably a little more Dobbins than I want. I think we're looking good, guys. Unanimous Arlovsky, I fucking knew it. I knew it. Dave, who's the GPP special? Give it to me. I knew Arlovsky was going to win. I freaking knew it. I got a good lineup with Arlovsky in it. A few good lineups with Arlovsky. All right. I'm in 5th place. You ready for can I show you this? I'm in 5th place in the is this a where am I? Yeah. In the captain. In the captain, MMA captain, I'm in 5th place. Looks like with Glover yet to fight. It doesn't look like I'm going to win, though. Actually, yeah, with Glover yet to fight and have Glover in the captain. So, reasonable chance at the nuts here. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know if I can get there. We're going to have to see. Maybe not. That's unfortunate. Yeah. All right. Anyway, that's good stuff. Guys, that's it. So basically, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna do a little bit more adjusting, but you've seen the process. We've gotten all these quarterbacks, beautiful stacks. Look at them. Beautiful stacks, every single one. Got the exposures that we want. And that's how we do it. Put the lineups in, cross fingers. I'm going to lower, like I said, I'm going to lower my Edmonds exposure a little bit. This is high. My DJ Dallas, all of these are a little bit high. I want to get a little bit more of these sort of more studly guys. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking right now. I don't think I'm going to adjust too much. I like my wide receiver mix a little bit, so everything looks good to me. Not seeing too much I really want to change here. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this is coming together. So I'm going to run it a couple more times. I'm going to call it a tutorial, guys. That's going to do it. I hope oh, stop with Jordan Howard, bro. Don't make me play Jordan Howard. Don't do this to me. Don't do it to me. You really playing Jordan Howard? Fuck. Now I have to reconsider. You think they throw to him? Oh, he's out, man. Fuck. All right. I'm not going against you, man. All right. I can't go against fucking SEO. He's always right. He's always right. All right, guys. Jordan Howard in the player pool. Got to do it. All right. All right. I'm going to keep doing a little bit of adjusting, guys. I'm out. Good luck tomorrow. Let's crush it. I want to see all of you taking down tournaments. Hell fucking yeah. All right. Good luck, everyone. Take care.